So, yesterday was the start of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and 2 weeks from today, April 16th, will mark 5 years since my own event. I've got my dog here for moral support. Got McDonald's right there because, I know it looks like I'm not taking this seriously, but I am, because it happened to me. But it just to keep myself calm, I guess. Prevent specifically a panic attack, but also any other kind of response I might have. Hi. So, I don't even know how to start this. I grew up with this boy named Max. He is my best friend, and typically I would change his name, but I know he's gonna come on this at some point because he's my best friend. He had a brother. We're gonna keep his identity secret. We're gonna call him, let's just call him Dick, because that's what he was. He was a huge dick. Dick was a troubled boy. He was always stealing, lying, had a horrible anger issue. I was always terrified of him. So it was no surprise to me that he was the one who ended up doing it to me. I'd always feared that it would happen to me, but I never actually truly thought it would happen. I'm thirsty, hold on. It's mine! You'll get a fry in a minute. Yeah. Dick was actually my age. We were both 15. Max was 16 at the time. They had come over for Easter, and we were all hanging out in our basement. We were sitting on the couch. I was in the middle, Max was on my right, Dick was on my left. And I was showing them something on my phone. And all of a sudden, Dick just goes, "Hey guys, cuddle sandwich," which is the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm gonna swear a lot in this video because this just brings up all kinds of emotion in me. So yeah, we all kind of squished together. And he was sitting against me like this. This hand was right here on my breast. It was this hand. And I could feel him stroking it with his thumb. And at one point he did ask me, "Hey, is this okay? Is it okay that I'm doing this?" And like I said, I was terrified of him. So I was like, "Oh, you're okay. This is fine." And at one point, he put his hand up really high on my leg. It was so high that when he was stroking that with his thumb, it grazed my crotch every time he went all the way this way, and it kind of made me jump a little bit every time. And yeah, again, he asked, "Is this okay?" And I just kept saying, yeah, you're okay. Because I was terrified of saying no. And I did actually end up trying to say no at one point. But I mean, I could tell he was very pissed off when I tried to say no. And it didn't matter anyway, because he kind of kept doing it. At one point, he also forced me to lay down on the couch. He put my head in Max's lap, and so my legs were in his lap, and he rested his hand on top of my butt. Just full on. And after a second, after the momentary shock in me had passed, I jumped right up and said, "Nope." Oh, shoot. Oopsie. Anyway, I'm not actually sure if I said no, but that was what I was thinking. Yeah, that just kind of, he just kept doing that. The butt thing happened once. The crotch and breast thing was happening kind of throughout the day. We were also watching a movie. We were watching Frozen. We watched a little bit of WALL-E, but only like the first 20 minutes maybe. We watched almost all of Frozen. I have not watched Frozen since. I might be able to watch WALL-E again. I don't know. It's really hard for me to celebrate Easter. I just can't do it anymore. Yeah, I was 15. I'm 20 now. Still, some days are still really rough. I ended up crying myself to sleep that night because I was just thinking to myself, I don't know what to do. I was terrified of what had happened that day. I did kind of take control at one point in that day. Because eventually we went upstairs to my room and he said, "Hey, let's all cuddle on your bed." And that's when I said, "No, we're all gonna play a board game on the floor." So I kept something from happening there. I don't know what, but I did. God. I don't even remember them leaving, honestly. I was probably forced to give him a hug because, like I said, we all grew up together. We were family friends. I don't want to say this because I hate him now, but back then I viewed him as a brother. Viewed both of them as brothers. It was rough. I also really struggled with self-harm at the time because I was already struggling with things like depression and anxiety just because I was bullied in school. So yeah, I ended up cutting myself that night. And I didn't end up seeing him again for a while. And about a month later, this was right after freshman year had ended, I got super close to seeing him again. Max and Dick had invited me, actually no, it was just Max who had invited me to this youth group event that they were going to. And I knew that Dick was gonna be there. And I told Max, "Hey, I'm still kind of mad at Dick for what he did." And Max said, "What'd he do?" Like, he had no idea, so I was fucking screwed. And I was just panicking so badly that I ended up cutting myself again, because at the time that was like the only thing that could possibly calm down any anxiety that I had. And I was just begging my mom, "Please don't make me go. Please let me stay home. I do not want to go." And they were kind of disappointed in me for not going out and being social, but they said, "Okay, stay home." And Max was upset with me for not going, but I mean, none of them knew why. And it's funny, I had been cutting myself for quite a while. Maybe since I'd been cutting myself since I was 13. And most of the time I didn't even try to hide it and nobody noticed. But that time, I think I had cut myself a little bit too harshly that time. And I ended up putting a Band-Aid over the cuts. And the next day, maybe 2 days later, I'm out shopping with my parents and my sister. And Mom sees the Band-Aid on my wrist. And she goes, "Did you try to hurt yourself?" And I was like, "What? No. No, I didn't." But she did not believe me. And so Mom and Dad sat me down the next afternoon. And they were like, kept trying to get me to take the Band-Aid off. Show us your wrist. And I was like, no, it was just the dog. The dog just scratched me. I'm so sorry I tried to blame it on you. Yeah, it was just like, I didn't try to cut myself. That's not what happened. It was an accident. What? But eventually gave in. I slowly peeled it off. And it was just silence. And at first, I just told them it was because I was struggling with anxiety and depression. And they're like, "Oh, well, I mean, we kind of struggle with our own feelings like that too. Like, my mom had postpartum depression after she had me because it was a very complicated pregnancy. And she struggles with depression now. My dad has told me he doesn't understand mental health at all, which, I appreciate him being honest about that. But, I mean, anyway, after, I told them it's just my feelings, just my mental illnesses, they told me, "Is there anything else you want us to talk about?" And I kind of stood up, paced around a little, and said, "I didn't want to see Dick." And they were kind of like, "Why?" And, I didn't really say, I just kind of gestured / grabbed where he had touched me. And, yeah. Truth had come out. So, that whole summer revolved around my mom telling their mom, and followed by their older sister, and telling my older sister. And then my parents ended up reporting him without my permission because I was very scared and still waiting on making a decision. They made a statement about him. So then I had to be interviewed, and I also had to go into counseling, even though I did not want to. I was not ready to deal with my feelings. I just wanted to lock myself away in my shame. So yeah, that was a rough summer. And the crazy thing was that after my mom told Dick's mom, she told my mom that the same thing had happened a year earlier. He did it to his 5-year-old cousin. That girl would be 11 now. God, that is so young. That is younger than I was. I was 15. She was 5. And they never told us for that whole year before it happened to me. You never know what could have happened or didn't happen if we knew. I'm not saying I blame them because he did it to himself, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. So yeah, eventually he was evicted from his home. My dad told me that on my 16th birthday, that he had been evicted and tried, and I don't think he ended up going to jail. I think he was in some sort of program for delinquents or something. I don't remember the specifics, honestly. But he was out of the picture now. I was gone. I didn't end up seeing him one more time before he was evicted. We, um, the grandparents on their dad's side were kind of like parents to my mom and dad. And their grandfather was a preacher. He is a preacher. He's still around. And he had come preach at our church, and my mom invited their family over. We did sit on opposite ends of the church, but then we went out to lunch. And yeah, still saw him. Never sat near each other. Never made sure we couldn't see each other at all. But he was there, and at one point, they had me take a picture of everyone at the table. Because we were doing a little thing where you take this little paper cut Jesus with you wherever you went and post a picture of it on the church website for a Jesus Around the World thing. And when I was taking the picture, he kind of rose his head up above everyone else's. And just seeing his face, I immediately got so angry. And it took so much self-control for me to just not yell at him or lunge myself at him. So nothing happened that time because everybody knew I was as safe and protected as I could be, even though he was there. See, it was really tough. Sometimes I still have nightmares about it, especially at this time of year. We're not really friends with anyone else in that family anymore. It's just me and Max who are still friends, because honestly the rest of his family was kind of toxic. And I fully trust Max, by the way. I know he would never do anything like that to me. He's great. One time we were at Worlds of Fun, which is a water park, and we were side by side swimming together, and his hand just kind of grazed my butt a little bit, and he immediately retracted his hand. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like, that was... a good person would have that reaction. A bad person would not. Yeah, the next few years were kind of rough with that. I was really depressed, and during that summer I could not eat, I could not sleep, and I still kind of struggled with that for a little while for the first year. I don't think it was until 2019 that I started to feel somewhat okay again, but then I was just kind of telling myself that I was okay, and then all of a sudden it just kind of came crumbling down again. I'm still kind of working on myself, but I'm not the same girl I was 5 years ago. And I've told a few people I'm close to about it. My parents told more people than I did when it first happened, and I was pretty pissed about it, because I don't want anyone to know. I was ashamed. But now here I am posting about it, and it's because I just felt the need to tell my story. I want to spread awareness, prove to people that they're not alone, and maybe even prove to myself I'm not alone. So, hey, I got through this whole story without breaking down. Thanks for listening, I guess. I guess this video is over now.